Alright, y'all. Let's go over the NQ longs, the reasoning, and all the way down to the entry. So you guys can see I have a little bit of makeup on my chart as of now. And so Friday, we kind of talked about in the Discord that this could be a potential reversal, right? We have that V shape that we look for. We have that change in the state of delivery here on that 4 hour after that closure. And when I said that Monday could be a possible continuation day, this is exactly what I look for. And so you can see Friday closes above the Thursday's opening price. And so that is also giving me a good confirmation along with the 4 hour that Monday is most likely going to expand. How do we know if Monday is most likely going to expand? Well, we need an invalidation point. And so we use the entire range of the daily candle. And that's what this red line is, right? That's our invalidation point. And if we go to the 4 hour, I was initially bearish going into the day, just because I was more neutral biased. I wouldn't say bearish, um, but I was looking potentially for shorts, just based off of how this day opened. Right, we sort of opened high at first, and then we then went lower, and so this is how I invalidated my short bias as well. So we have SMT up here with ES. If we pull up the other chart, you guys can see here. Remove all this stuff. And so here's this high. You can see there's some SMT there. And so price, and this is also the daily opening. We can mark that out as well. Price is opening high first and then starts to sort of trade lower, right? But in this sense, and this is why I tell you guys that it's important to look at how the candles are delivering, right? If we're going to have a reversal, does this look like expansion to you, right? Do we have a one-sided aggressive move? No. So that's why I was also on the fence for shorts today. Even though we have SMT, excuse me, and we have a change in the state of delivery here on the hourly, that could be a potential protected high to then trade away from. But the candle closures and the fake and failure to have an expansive move lower, as well as already understanding that we have a potential continuation day from the Friday reversal, you guys can now see how then when I wait for 9:30, is price going to break out or reverse, right? If we're going to be bearish from this potential high, the only place that we are looking to reverse from is this intraday low that is nestled inside of this 4 hour bullish fair value gap, right? And from the higher time frame, we're still inside of this bullish 4 hour order block, etc. So when I was looking at price this morning, I saw that price had this change in the state of delivery on the 15-minute. What I was really looking at was this 30-minute change in the state of delivery, just because if 9:30 was going to expand, it was most likely going to have a closure here, potentially either just run, or it was going to open high and then run, breaking into this low and then into these lows below and the equilibrium of the previous day's range. What do you notice? On the 15-minute, this is not how you want a bearish candle to open, right? It opens lows, immediately takes out the low. If we look at the hourly or we look at the 1 minute chart, you guys can see here is 9:30, right? Stabs immediately into this low that we're potentially looking for a reversal from. And how did I know that my shorts were invalidated? Well, this is the protected high that I wanted to trade away from. And so when ES took this out before NASDAQ, that's when I was no longer interested in shorting this market. And so if we play price, you can see exactly what happens. And again, we can just move that, or we can delete that daily opening price. Now this is all I need to see. We have a series of down close candles that takes out an important low, right? Once that occurs, now I'm looking for that change in the state of delivery. We get a closure there, and we have a drawn liquidity above. And what do you notice? A bunch of failure swings before the relevant high. That's normally what you want, because this makes it for a low resistance liquidity run. Once we get the closure through here, I'm now looking for a potential setup. I don't typically love to just long fair value gaps, especially since in this case, Even though ES was stronger on the higher time frame, ES was the one retracing deeper after this expansion and after it took out a tie. So that is why I opted to long NASDAQ today, even though it took longer to reach its objective. You can notice the retracement level, right? The deepness and the stronger candle closures here in the 5-minute. And so once I saw price fail to even tap its 15-minute fair value gap, I went to the 5-minute and I saw price close above here, and that's where I was looking for price to retest this order block. And on the 15-minute, since I never got my entry, it started to run away from me a little bit here. On the 15-minute, I was looking for this next candle closure here. And to me, this next opposing candle here is going to be my new invalidation point. And on the 5-minute, I knew that this low should be protected. And ideally, we don't get a retracement below the 50% of this down close candles, since we have the 15-minute order block and the 5-minute fair value gaps. So this is where I was looking for an entry off the opening price. My stop loss was at just below the EQ of the order block, which was, I used this here, or I used the entire candle actually. Yeah, so my stop loss was at 124. The numbers are a little skewed because I did trade MNQ, so keep that in mind. But and I took my full entire position off at this high up here, which was just like just 175 points, and this yielded a 3.6R trade. If I play price here, you can see that price starts to run away from me, and then I noticed that we started to get a retracement. I left my limit orders, I got filled here, and then price pretty much expands right away, and that's exactly what I wanted to see when I saw this this dip here. I knew that if I was going to be right, it was going to be expansive. And the reasoning for this retracement here, in my opinion, was that ES had taken out its high before NASDAQ. So that was like a slight SMT on the higher time frame. And then they both retraced here. And you can see in this case, NASDAQ retraced deeper and ES reaches its objective first. But this is still a very, very nice trade. And I was okay trading the quote-unquote weaker asset today. And if you notice, when you have an upper wick like this, you want the 50% to be respected pretty well. And that's exactly where price was sitting at, taps that, and then explodes back higher. And as soon as I saw this closure here, I knew I was pretty much on side. And shortly after, 2R got hit, which was right above just this short-term swing high right here on the 30-minute. If we look, this is that little high here. As soon as that got hit, that was just above my 2R. I went stop to break even. It's also a logical break even when I'm looking for a continuation phase of price. I want to see opposing candles now become respected. You can see the fair value gap down here is left open. That's always a good sign. And on the 15-minute, we did make another opposing candle here, which got closed above here. So that is also how I knew my stop loss should most likely be safe. With a large wick like this, I want to see the upper half of that wick be respected. And so all logical things, right? And price ends up taking out my drawn liquidity right there. I did hold my full position. I did tell you guys to partial around this high, just so people would take some off. But TP1 was here, TP2 is up there. My full position was taken off at this high. And just a very, very nice trade. This is literally as perfect as you could get. And if you look at the 4-hour, how did I know that I should most likely hold my trade? This is when you look at the candle closures. So this is a candle 2 closure. And so all that means is that this is a potential reversal candle. And when you have an open drawn liquidity, because this candle wasn't here yet, when you have an open drawn liquidity here, which is an obvious 4-hour high, and you have everything aligning for you on the lower time frame based off of the higher time frame. So now you're pairing the higher time frame potential continuation phases with the lower time frame is now aligned with the continuation phase. When you have all time frames lining up for expansion, that's how you know when you should be holding your trade. And with this potential reversal candle and plenty of time left in the day, What do I mean by plenty of time left in the day? The new 4-hour 10 a.m. candle had just opened. And now if we're looking from the opening price of that next candle, we were here and we have now from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. to get to this high. And so that is how I know I have plenty of time and the confidence in the trade to be able to hold it. Because of this candle 2 and understanding that a candle 3 expansion candle should be coming if I'm right and if all the time frames are in an expansion phase of price, and they were today. And the same thing happened on ES. If you look, ES actually never takes its 930 low, or 930 never takes this low. Also means what? A protected swing should now be put in. SMT confirms that, and also SMT means it's probably going to be the stronger asset, and you can see it reached its higher time frame objective faster. So that is the entire reasoning behind the trade from top to bottom to entry. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, as always, please feel free to ask, and I'll see you guys in the next one.